MTN SME Hub. Link to growth, link to success, link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us today, we've got Kabira Akoob. She's the founder and CEO of KeaTech Logistics. And we're talking about a very important industry in South Africa, and one that I think is just going to become more and more important as time goes on. Now, you were talking about the horse and the trailer, and I was trying to get to the sense of what the industry is doing. And funding is a big part of how you're going to expand. How did you fund your first 5 vehicles?
Okay, so long story short, I took out every single cent that I had in terms of savings. I was recently retrenched at that time. I took all the money that I had and I bought the first tanker. I didn't have sufficient for both working capital and for the horse, so I financed the horse. And we ran the first truck for 6 months, and thereafter it managed, the business itself managed to grow, and there was sufficient income coming in to buy the second and the third, and that's how we went on. While we want to expand, but we're doing it very responsibly.
So why, in the question is, how do you grow? And also from a funding, why not continue this? Because effectively, if you've got one vehicle and you're making a profit, it would take X amount of time before you could buy the second. When you've got 2, it should theoretically halve that time or close to half that time. And 3, it gets faster and faster. So is the business not generating enough cash flow then for you to fund the 6th and 7th and 8th one and so on?
The reason why I asked that question was, how do you go from 5 trucks to becoming the next DB World?
Yes.
And
you want to do it faster than that?
Than I'm currently doing, okay. Yes, and responsibly. So faster, but responsibly as well. So there are many industry players that would go and buy 20 trucks and start, and then 3 years down the line, they bankrupt and they can't. You've got to do it very responsibly. I believe that.
Yeah.
So that was the reason I asked the question. How do you go from the 5 small business that I am to becoming the next DB World?
Okay, so now let's talk about the margins, because the margins are part of that answer. When you looked at your first vehicle, okay, and just from a GP perspective, not from a net profit perspective, but let's start from a gross profit perspective. Is your gross profit of the first vehicle better, worse, the same than it is now with 5 vehicles as a percentage? Not as a number. Obviously, your revenue's gone up, let's say 5x.
Yes.
But is the GP percentage, what's happened to the gross profit percentage? Gone higher, lower, stayed the same?
I think one of the biggest factors that contributed to the decline was the fuel price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and when we come to the net profit, then what's happened there?
We keep a very close eye on all our costs.
Yeah.
But also, I think the cost of compliance, especially in the industry we are, because we service the mining industry, so the cost of compliance has increased immensely. That's what we find. So both from a labor perspective and from the compliance of the business and the compliance of the vehicles.
Okay. So let me translate that back to you and tell me if I'm understanding that correctly. Okay. What you're saying is that the unit economics of 1 was better than the unit economics of 5.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, so explain why.
I think in terms of economies of scale, the logistics business works that way.
Yes.
The more vehicles you have a greater diluter of your fixed costs.
Yes.
So that in that sense, yes. But as an overall percentage, I think because of the difficult environment we are in, I can't just go and buy another 20 trucks and put them on the road. There isn't work for it in the immediate short term. Mm-hmm. So what we try to do is we try to expand, but ensure that the wheels are turning.
Yes,
we've got a 95 to 98% utilization on our vehicles.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you another question, which is a hard question, but and I think I know the answer. Your service, is it a commodity? Is it a commoditized service? In other words, it's just a price war?
No. Definitely not.
So what it makes your business unique?
I think it's the service that we offer. we are transporting on behalf of the bigger cement manufacturers.
Yeah.
So the reputation of those cement manufacturers are in your hands.
Yes.
And we ensure from a timely perspective, the product, when we deliver cement to very specific customers. So if it's a ready mix plant and they're going to be doing a batch of ready mix, the cement needs to be there at a specific time. So they won't wait for the truck to come 2 hours later and the batch is standing. So we need to ensure that from a timely perspective, we're there on time. Efficiencies within the company, efficiencies to our customer service. Things like that, yeah. So that's what makes us different from other companies.
How are you getting your work now? You spoke about, you're 95%, the wheels are rolling. How are you getting that work? Are you finding that work?
So we're currently on an ad hoc contract. We don't have fixed contracts, but we're on an ad hoc contract with one of the big cement manufacturers in South Africa.
Yeah.
And that's how we currently get most of our work.
So you got one client?
We have one of many. The one client is the big customer.
Yeah.
And then we do, when that client, there's a decline, we'll do work for other smaller companies, and we do that over weekends and to keep the wheels turning in the standing times.
I want to come back to the service side. When you say you're providing service, it's not commoditized, you're providing service. Just explain to me what that service means and who in the organization is giving that service. Is it you?
I think it's a combination of the teamwork of every member of this organization. But I think the key focus would be on the drivers. They're the guys that are driving, making sure that things are happening. We are at the back and we're giving them the orders and we're giving them, we plan their loads out for them, but it's them. And you've probably spoken to many other logistics companies and everybody says there's issues with drivers. And I think for what makes me different is that I'm very blessed. We've got a strong team, well-experienced team, and they know exactly what is expected of them. There's a clear alignment in terms of what the company wants, where the company is going, and what we expect of our drivers.
Okay, Kabira, I think I've got enough. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, I'm going to give Kabira some things to think about. Stay tuned.
MTN SME Hub, link to business success.